everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a bit of a book review. There's several different genres I'm going to talk about. I think there's 2 fantasy, 1 murder and 1 romance. I've been reading a lot the past month or 2, so these are some of the best books I think I've read. And then maybe in another video I will do maybe my least rated books, but these are like some of the top ones I've read recently. So I hope you enjoy. The first book I'm going to review is The Night Shift by Annie Crown. So, The Night Shift by Annie Crown features Kendall Holiday and... I have read it, trust me. I'm just trying to find the... Vincent. And it's a college romance. It features around a bookworm and a basketball player, which is actually very reminiscent of my own relationship in real life, as my partner plays wheelchair basketball. But I absolutely adored this book. I will say the only thing that irked me was the female main character, but I'll read the blurb and then go into it in a bit more detail. The bookworm and the basketball player are about to meet their match. Kendall Holiday spends her Friday nights exactly where she wants to be, with her head buried in a spicy romance novel while she works the graveyard shift at her university's library. She knows she could join her friends for a weekend of drunken debauchery and college parties, but she likes her alone time. She tells herself she isn't hiding when she gets lost in the pages of fictional love stories. But that all changes when Vincent Knight, captain of the basketball team, turns up with an injured wrist, a sour mood and a pressing need for poetry recommendations for a class he hates. Vincent is tall, smart-mouthed, and she's falling headfirst into her very own romance novel, but it takes a lot more truth than tropes to get to a happy ever after in real life. This book had me kicking and giggling. I nearly said kickling then. That's a new thing I could say. For the most part, it was amazing. It was really interesting reading about a bookworm who reads romance novels falling in love, because all her ideas of romance come from her books, and Kendall is very much into all the tropes, spots them in real life. She hates miscommunication about as much as I do, but then they end up miscommunicating anyway, so it's delightful. It was hilarious. I thought Vincent was very much a real type of guy, not so macho like you'd expect most sport romance, college romance guys to be from what I've read previously. Very much kind of actually introverted for a basketball player, which I thought was very good. And the whole relationship was just hilarious and spicy and fantastic. So this was definitely like 4 or 5. I want to say maybe 4.5 stars for me. The only reason I didn't like it was just because Kendall was too much of a bookworm in character. A lot of the time she was very much constantly on about like fictional men and the standards that they've set, and I think it was really annoying, and she was a bit too involved in the books. I say as I make a video about books that I've really enjoyed. So take that as what you may. Definitely a good read, and I believe I got this for the works actually, so I have still seen it about, so if you are interested you should definitely pick it up. The next book I'm going to talk about is The Night Hunt by Alexander Christo. The Night Hunt by Alexander Christo has been an absolute favourite of mine for like the past week or 2 since I read it. It centres around gods and monsters, and oh my god, it's just amazing. I could literally talk about it for ages and ages. I've utterly destroyed the spine, if you can see it there, and it's now a very floppy book, but it deserves that floppy book energy because it's just fantastic. So let me read the blurb. Enter a world of gods and monsters. Atia is the last of her kind. She hides in the shadows, feeding off fear and hungering off for vengeance against the gods who killed her family. Silas knows what it means to be at the mercy of the gods. As a herald, he is bound to ferry souls to the afterlife, as punishment for a past he can't remember. Atia would never dream of allying with someone like him, but when the gods send monsters to hunt her, Silas offers her an irresistible deal. He'll help Atia destroy the gods In return, she must help break the curse upon him and restore his humanity. Only together can they finally rewrite their destinies. This book got me into Alexander Christo, and it made me go back to the works and buy her and buy the full set, the 2 duologies that they have in there as like a full box set thing. I'll show you it at a later date and you'll see what I mean. But this book had me gripped. It was fantastic. The tension, the characters, even the side characters were great, and I absolutely loved it. And I didn't see the ending and the twists and turns coming. I thought it was going to be very straightforward, and even though I'd say it's definitely a romantasy. It's very much more fantasy than romance. There isn't much romance going on until maybe like 3/4 of the way through the book. It's like a very much slow build, and then quick burn. If that makes sense. It's not slow burn in any sense of the word. I could actually read. I would love to have a book about the side characters. One of them is Atia's only friend, and he's amazing. And then they rescue someone along the way who kind of joins the team. So it's definitely a lot of fan family as well, and realising potential and realising that everyone has a bit of a monster in them, and that's okay. It's definitely like a very good way of looking at good and evil, and like what they see as good and evil and how it turns out to be in the end is very different, because the people that you think are bad are good, and then the people that you think are good are bad. Like the classic fantasy trope that every fantasy writer does at some point, I think. Would highly recommend, and I'm very much looking forward to reading more of Alexander Christo in the future. Alexander Christo, even. And yes, just 5 out of 5. Just amazing. Honestly, I have no words to talk about this book left, because it's just that good. The next book I'm going to talk about is Those We Drown by Amy Goldsmith. Those We Drown by Amy Goldsmith is a very recent read. I finished it this week, and when I say I didn't know what to expect from reading the blurb to then actually reading the book, I was really pleasantly surprised. I will say, before I read the blurb, I only gave this about 4 stars, 4 stars, because the story at times was very jumpy. I think if you're one of those that can be a quick reader and keep up with the storyline that's very fast paced, you'll enjoy this. However, sometimes it was a bit too fast paced for me, but I'll read the blurb and then you guys can make up your own minds about it. So, it should have been the trip of a lifetime when Liv lands an all expense paid opportunity to study abroad, the luxury cruise ship the EOS for a semester. She can't believe her luck, especially since it will offer her the chance to spend time with Will, her ex-best friend who's barely spoken to her since the night their relationship changed forever. But as soon as she steps on board, Liv realises just how out of depth she is. With Will, with the rest of the semester students, including the brittle and beautiful Constantine, who may be hiding his own ties to the EOS, and most of all with the Sirens, 3 glamorous and mysterious influencers who seem to have the run of the ship. Liv quickly discovers that the only reason she was invited to join the trip is because another girl disappeared shortly after enrolling, and no one seems to know what happened to her. When further disappearances rock the ship and strange creatures begin haunting Liv's dreams, she wonders, is the EOS hiding a dark secret within its shadowy decks? The truth will come out at a price. Only how much is Liv willing to pay? This book had me at the edge of my seat, tensed all tense, which is a feat considering that my muscles are always tense because cerebral palsy. And if you pay attention to the channel and my Instagram, you know how obsessed I am with Greek mythology. I love Greek mythology, so having it written in like a murder mystery kind of way but modernised was amazing. I thought all the hints to Greek mythology were great. I loved the sirens. All the characters were kind of, I would say if you don't like posh snobby characters that it's not really the book for you, just because there is a lot of that going on. But the main character, Olivia, or Liv, I was blown away. She goes through so much in this book, and she deserves all the love. I would love a second book, a sequel, to see what happens next, because the way it ended, it wasn't cliffhangery, but it was kind of like, oh, you'd think there might be a bit more to the epilogue. There wasn't much. Actually, I don't know even if there was an epilogue. There was just the last chapter after all the stuff had happened. And I definitely feel like it needs a sequel of its own, just to kind of finish the story, see where people are, like the two of the main characters, and just see what happens in their life, because I think they have a lot to go through after this book and after the adventures they had in this book. So yeah, definitely like 5-star for me. I absolutely loved it, and again, from the works, and I think it's definitely still in stock. I've still seen it in my local The Works, so should be able to find it or online. And I think this was, I want to say it was £5, so quite a good deal for a really pleasant read. The last book that I'm going to talk about is one I talked about in my previous videos, and I said I'd update everyone on it because I was very excited. And it ends with us, but it ends at midnight, even though it ends with us. It ends at midnight by Harriet Tice. Now, going into this book, It Ends at Midnight by Harriet Tice, I was very excited. However, I did enjoy it, but the ending was very disappointing, and I would have preferred something a bit different. It wasn't what I expected it to be. I expected it to be much more. But again, still a 4-star read for me, because it takes a lot to make me rate like 3-star or below. So, I'll read the blurb. It's New Year's Eve and the stage is set for a lavish party in one of Edinburgh's best postcodes. It's a moment for old friends to set the past to rights and move on. The night sky is alive with fireworks and the champagne is flowing. But the celebration fails to materialise, because someone at this party is going to die tonight. Midnight approaches and the countdown begins, but it seems one of the guests doesn't want a resolution. They want revenge. Now, this book had me on the edge of my seat for the most part. It was tense, very much murder mystery. There was a lot of different scenes from different time periods, and I found that really interesting. They also had things from like around the time of the murder, when the people found the body, and then when the police got involved, and those kind of cutscenes, which I found really interesting and really enjoyed, like the formatting of this book. I like formats where you get different perspectives and kind of the case unravels as you go. I find it really interesting. So I definitely want to read more of Harriet Tice to see what she could be, what her other books could be like. But I don't think she'll be like my go-to thriller read. I'm still definitely trying to find my go-to thriller read. I go through a lot of them, and it definitely has to be something really special to catch my eye. So, a 4-star read for It Ends at Midnight by Harriet Tice. I'm planning on posting this video and then doing one more before I go on holiday. I am on holiday Monday to Friday next week, so I will not be posting. I'm trying to create some content to keep you all entertained in the meantime, but as usual, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and leave any video reviews down below. Tell me video ideas down below. Tell me if you've read any of these books that I've mentioned, and let me know what your thoughts and opinions are, or if you have any books that you'd like me to read and review. Just let me know. Thank you for watching.